Hey guys, Chris here from Carolat Farm. We just had a really cold night. I think it was in the mid-20s, and I saw that our water troughs definitely had the first skim of ice, so it was super cold. So I want to show you around today, and I want to mention a few things because as we head into these colder winter months, there are some things that as horse owners we want to be mindful of when we are talking about our water troughs and our pastures and such. So let's get started. It's not even the middle of November and we're already having to break ice. It's the first morning that our troughs have been frozen. So I'm just using a piece of, wood here to break this thin layer of ice. I don't think we yet really need our heaters, but soon. We'll need to soon pull our heaters out for sure. Something else I've started doing in the mornings is I am soaking feed for Sweetheart and Lady with warm water. And so their morning mash is nice and warm. I'm sure they appreciate that on these really chilly days. I've even given the boys a little extra hay this morning. I had backed them off to 1 flake, and now I've given them 2. Just on such a chilly day, I think that they really will appreciate a little extra hay to nibble on. Sweetheart was so eager and impatient this morning. Not only was she pawing, but she was almost like down on her knees, like threatening to roll. She just was beside herself. She really wanted to come in and eat, and now she's very content. Now that she is just eating the hay pellets twice a day, I do want to talk to the vet though, because I am worried that with her behavior this morning, she might just be really hungry, and I'm not sure how best to help her if we're not giving her loose hay overnight. So again, that will be a question for our vet and something to navigate as we head towards the winter months. Now Snuggles, she was a good patient girl. She came in, she had her nibble of grain, and now she's happy to have her flake. She didn't seem too overly hungry or eager this morning, which was a good sign. So at least she was feeling a little more content. More firsts for the morning. The sound of frozen manure. I had really forgotten about this, but our back field, which is where Sweetheart and Snuggles are currently living, really stays in the shadow for much of the day. Throughout the winter, this back field can get icy, and it just stays icy for so long. So I think I'm going to start trying to give them more access to that side field. There's not much grass there, but it's warm and sunny. Having just mentioned the shade that covers much of this back field for most of the day has me thinking about the water trough. It is in the shade here, and this will likely be shaded for just about the majority of the day from the roof here. Whereas if I were to move it over to the right a little, it would have some morning sun. So when you're looking at water trough placements, you really want to be thinking about that as the weather turns cold. My little red troughs here, although they froze overnight, they are in the full sun and they will warm throughout the day. Now that we've broken the ice, it will melt, and these will fare better than the gray one in the back. Whereas this front paddock, our ring area, as soon as the sun climbs up above those trees, we have full sun here all day long. So this area does not get quite as icy in the winter months, and it's certainly warmer and sunnier than our back field. Although it was super cold last night, down in the 20s, and we did have that skim of ice on the troughs, we don't have frost out on the field, and that is because it has been really windy here at the farm. I do want to watch Rocky and see if he goes and drinks the cold water. Last winter, I did find that he was a little more particular about drinking cold water, and so I was bringing him warm water every morning and sometimes twice a day, even in the evenings. And so I'm glad to see he is drinking, because it's very important. He is one I want to keep a close eye on. He has been a little more sensitive in some other areas as well, so I'm so happy to see he's drinking right now. You can see just how content Sweetheart is here in the warm sunshine. She finished her breakfast a little while ago. Her companion Snuggles is still eating her morning hay next door. And so rather than turn her out into that back field that's still pretty shaded, I went ahead and let her stay here. She has a bucket of water over here just behind me in the corner. I went ahead and pulled the ice out of that because of course it froze too. But you can see she's really content just hanging out here in the sun. And as soon as Snuggles is finished eating, I'll turn them both out. Last winter, when we first opened this back paddock, we didn't realize how much shade it had. And really, truth be told, it wouldn't have changed anything because it made the most sense given its layout and proximity to the barn. This was going to be our next turnout for our minis. But even in creating this paddock, we just didn't realize how much shade it had. And in the winter months, when it got really snowy and icy, this back field took the longest by far to thaw out. And so if you have the ability to find sunnier turnouts for your horses in the cold winter months, that is preferable. You can see I've just opened the gate here to the paddock just to the side of this back field, and the mares have very happily gone out there to graze. There's a touch more grass, not much more, but what's even better is it's warm and it's sunny. So when you're looking to lay out fields, the shade is great, of course, in the summertime, and you want your horses to have shelter of some kind, but the warm sunshine is also really, really important in these cold months, which is exactly why building our winter turnouts up front here, our front field gets full sun all day long. We have more grass for the horses to graze upon, and we'll have access to shelter. So this should be a really ideal winter turnout for our minis. We just have to get it finished now. You can see we've already dug holes for 8 to 10 of the posts. We've tamped a few down, not all. Some of them have not yet been tamped here at the end. But we did, however, have a little issue. The ground was getting really hard as we made our way past the center of the field. So again, it's a work in progress, but we have at least broken ground. Winter does feel like it's quickly approaching. And so we have to figure out exactly what modifications we're going to make to our run-in here. We know at the very least we want to put some sides on it to be windbreaks. We were thinking about possibly building, off the long side in the back, or even off the end of the run here to give us a little more room for stalls. So we'll see. Again, winter is quickly approaching. Like I said, ground is freezing on us, so whatever we do, we will need to do it sooner rather than later before things are just too cold and so frozen that we can't do anything. As I was preparing to say farewell, Lady decided that it's time for her mid-morning nap. She does this most days. She'll lay down here in front of the barn. Some days she's even on the black mats. Today she's just in front of them. But your horses really, really do appreciate the warm sunshine. And so if you can provide a turnout that has plenty of sun, I really would encourage you to do so this time of year. Of course in the summer the horses are wanting shade, but this time of year when it's cold, the sun is what they're seeking more than anything. They, of course, need water, so check those troughs regularly, make sure they're not frozen over. And then they'll need some sort of shelter, ideally a shelter that has sides on it, at least 2, if not 3 sides or more, just to really provide a good windbreak, because this time of year, the wind is really beginning to kick up, and it can be very, very cold. Our horses are definitely equipped with their good thick coats for all sorts of weather, but what we can do to help them just makes it a little easier on their system. So again, check the water, check the shelter, and if at all possible, provide plenty of warm sunshine. Have a great rest of your day. Check back soon. We've got lots more updates coming soon on that front winter paddock. And as I'm talking to you now, my little boys have come to say hello. We have Rockstar here, and we have Shenanigans in the back here. Hi, Shan. They're going to come hang out in the shade of the stall, perhaps. They've been out in the sun all morning eating hay. But again, check back soon. We're always up to something, and I hope to see you in the future. Bye, guys.